I'm going to share with you what we saw at the Ellicott City Station B&O Museum. I'm Tom Kvichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. And history has a lot to do with the research that we do when we build our model railroad. And Ellicott City Station has a lot of history behind it. It was the first station built on the Baltimore and Ohio line. And I'm going to go through a little bit of the history of it while I'm taking you through some of the photos, and we took some videos there. If you remember, while I was doing the model railroad, there was a narration of a video in the background that you could hear, and that has some of the history in it if you want to go back and listen to what was on that video also. If you would like to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit my subscribe button, and while you're at it, ding that bell so you can be notified whenever I have a new video coming out, because that's the only way you're going to be notified whenever I have a video coming out, is to ding that bell. Also, while you're at it, go check my playlist where there are a lot of videos on there where you could watch and learn everything you need to know about model railroading and Arduino and electronics. So check that out. So let's get started with the tour of the Ellicott City Station Museum. We was taking a video outside and getting the outside pictures and everything, and never really looked at the sign, but it said the hours on Wednesday and Thursday are 10 to 2. We got here about 5 minutes to 2 and was taking pictures outside for about 5 minutes. We start walking up the step and a girl comes out and says, "Oh, we're getting ready to close right now, so we got to come back tomorrow again." So our adventures at the Baltimore and Ohio Ellicott City Station Museum. Chapter 2 tomorrow. Whenever you visit a museum, you're going to find some information there somewhere on the wall about the history of the place, and I'm going to read it to you. I have some video of the information, but it's kind of hard to read on the video, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history. I'm not a history buff, but I'm going to tell you about the history of the Ellicott Mills Depot, which is what it was called in the beginning. It was a depot and a station. So the Ellicott Mills Depot was one-of-a-kind structure when first designed and constructed in 1831. The B&O designed the building for multiple uses before it was a common building practice. It housed a car house to repair rail cars, a warehouse for storing freight and other commodities, and administrative offices for the freight agent and others. Constructed to serve the prosperous town of Ellicott's Mills, it was the end of the first 13 miles of commercial rail in the country, an important link in the westward expansion of the United States, and is the oldest surviving railroad station in America. The placing of the depot at this location was influenced by the Ellicott family themselves. They knew the railroad could help expand their already booming milling industry. The Ellicotts donated 52,125 square feet of land located directly across the Patapsco River from their lower mills. In addition, they allowed the B&O to quarry granite for the building from their local quarries for free. Several other structures were built around the same time, including the Oliver Viaduct over the Frederick Turnpike, a blacksmith shop, and horse stables. Jacob Small, a former mayor of Baltimore, was hired as the B&O's superintendent of depots and designed the building. A man by the name of John McCartney was hired to build the station. We can assume the work was completed in early November 1831. From 1831 to 1857, the outward appearance of the station did not change much except for the addition of a large double door on the south side of the building, allowing steam locomotives access to the car house. The museum's main entrance doors originally served as loading docks for the wagons that unloaded goods into the depot. They were lifted by pulley to the second level warehouse where you're standing now. Cargo was loaded on the trains out the doors to your left. Also, 2 steam funnels were added in the car house ceiling to allow the steam and smoke from the locomotives to exit the buildings. In 1856, the B&O considered building a new passenger station in Ellicott's Mill, but the railroad decided to modify the existing station. The project began in 1856 and was completed in 1857 for a cost of, get this, $2,644.02. There were only two noticeable differences to the exterior of the station. First, the double doors on the south side that entered the car house were taken out and opening closed in. By this time, the locomotives were too large to enter the building, and the car house became the freight and baggage area. On the north end of the building, a covered staircase was added for passengers to reach the train platform where they could enter the building. The B&O made several major changes to the upper level interior of the station. The station's master's office, located in the north end of the building, was converted into a ladies' waiting room. The warehouse, the room you're in now, became the men's waiting room, and a ticket and telegraph office was built between the two waiting rooms. Early in the 1860s, there was a discussion of building a turntable at Ellicott's Mills to improve the movement of engines to and from Baltimore. The turntable was built in 1863. It was a 50-foot in diameter and could turn engines as big as a Class 440, which weighed 24 tons. The turntable was used until the late 1890s. Eventually, with the conversion of the station for passenger use, additional freight storage was needed. In 1885, the B&O added a freight house on site. The building was designed by noted architect Ephraim Francis Baldwin. A siding ran beside the freight house, and train cars were loaded and unloaded directly into the building. Insulators over there, okay. We got a video here about a steam engine. Okay, here's the B&O routes and rates, 1860. Move back a little bit. It's behind the TV, so you can't see it that well. Here's the rates.
Someone who's in charge of shoveling coal into the boiler. And then you have an engineer who is someone who's in charge of handling the throttle.
Okay, this is the second floor, and actually this is the track level. come over here. Oh, we can go to Freight House Caboose and Turntable. Okay, I think.
Measurement that it had to burn anthracite coal, and that wouldn't be.
Oh, play area. A lot of old photos. What's this over here? At the strap iron rail. Let me get out of there. Yeah. It's kind of hard to get it without the glare with these windows in here. Try this one. Watch your step there, baby. Hope it goes down. Some lanterns and targets. Okay, let's see how we get this here. There we go. There's the stamps. And there's an eye loop. Let me see if we can get it down in there. There we go. Turn this lamp up here. Railway Express stuff. Century of service. Here's the old turntable. Well, they said it was a turntable. We'll see how it turns. I imagine at one time it was a turntable, but they filled it in, and the ties are coming up, they're dropping down on the far end. Oh yeah, the beam, oops, the beam is dropping in the center. Okay, I guess they used to have, the track used to come inside here. This is what it looks like. I mean, this is a pretty good size room right here. I guess that's where the track was, right there. Okay, here's some of the tools. When I worked on the railroad in the 70s, they were still using these tools. Except for the long wrench, they didn't use it. I guess that was for steam. And the machinist that used to work on the steam locomotives gave me his pipe wrenches. I still have them. Well, I still have 3 of them. Somebody stole one of them. They were rigid brand. Let me take a look back in this other room here.
Simply, it is a pin which is lifted up, and a loop, which is a iron loop, which connects.
Okay, that's Deer Park Hotel. Everything's behind glass, so you see my reflection now. B&O Centenary blue pattern. Okay, and alright. It says turn, handle, and pull. I didn't see this before. Oh, here's some old suitcases. I think my parents had a set like that. They did. Alright, turn, handle, and pull. Okay, we can go out there. Okay, I want to get this over here. There's a Johnson bar, a bell, a dolly, another dolly. Oh my goodness. Check that out. There's some insulators right there. I used to have some of those. Debbie's taking my picture. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We're on the outside and we're going to walk down to see what's down at this end here. And we've got our tracks here. Apparently there was 2 tracks here at one time. There's a caboose in the freight station. It's called Antique Depot right now. We're going to take a ride up to the end of the street. It's a dead-end street up there, but we'll go up there later. There's the freight house, small freight house, and then they got a caboose over there. Okay. I remember those kind of tops to fences. We had something like that in our Catholic school, except for there's just a straight point and not these side pieces there. You can hear the Patapsco River in the background, if you can hear it there. St. Paul's Catholic Church up there. There's some more buildings back here. A lot of the buildings and the walls around here are granite. There's another building. That's as far as the street goes. I guess that's private property up at the end where it goes up the hill. Some pretty old buildings in here. Very, very old. The caboose has air conditioning. Oh, that's the freight house. Okay. That's a little wore out. It's rotten out. Not as bad as where we were at the Colorado Railroad Museum. Let's go up here. There's the brake. Alright, we can go inside. I'm going inside, baby. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, we got sound effects too. Okay. If I didn't have the camera in my hand, I'd climb up there and look out the window, but there's the stove. Okay.
Welcome to the B&O's caboose. Only in America did a cook stove turn into a railroad car. That was the fate of the railroad car known as a caboose. We find references as far back as 1861 in a book called Reminiscences in the Life of a Railroad Engineer. The word ultimately comes from the Dutch. Long before railroads, a caboose was the name for a cook stove on a sailing ship. Meanwhile, on land, caboose was occasionally used to mean a small dwelling or shack. There is an 1839 congressional reference to a little caboose of a post office. By the time of the Civil War, these little train crewmen kept the little car warm.
Now this was the coal
Railroad
right
cabooses served
here.
many functions. They provided a place for
I don't know what the other one was for.
paperwork, and train crews with a place to eat, sleep, rest, store tools, and observe the operations of the train ahead. Early cabooses were actually brown,
Cabooses.
brownish red in color. It wasn't until the 20th century that the bright red color became common. Located at the end of freight trains, the red color visually identified the end of a long train. This caboose was built in 1929 and served the B&O Railroad
It's a little
until its
tight.
retirement in 1975. Cabooses are no longer needed.
I remember them kind of water spots,
Instead,
spigots.
flashing rear-end devices known as frames take up the place of this classic railroading icon. Feel free to climb up to the cupola seats, look through the windows. How far can you see? What do you think living in a caboose car with 2 or 3 other crew members would be like? Be careful now, and as always, stop, look, and listen.
Alright, that was a little demonstration of what, or explanation of the caboose, or this caboose here. Okay, I'm going to shut it off and we're going to go to the freight house now. There's Debbie taking pictures.
Hey, baby.
Hey, there you go. Even though this video was over 20 minutes, we still have a lot of video and photographs that we didn't put into there. I think we got over 300 photos and probably about another 20 or 30 minutes of video that we took. And you just have to go to the museum to see everything that is there. There's so much information up on the wall on the papers that they have up there that you just have to see them yourself. I mean, I took pictures of them, and I'll put some of those pictures on the on my web page and the photos on my web page so you can see for yourself. I'll probably have it up there sometime next week because when you see this, we'll be at Suncoast Center for Fine Scale Modeling, and I'll put them on the webpage after that. And don't forget, in 2 weeks we're going to Suncoast Model Railroad Train Show and Open House. So after that, we'll have that out also. So we still got some more stuff from on vacation that we got to show you, and once I get that out of the way, I'm going to go back into the model railroading stuff. I'm going to be doing some more work on that thing right there, because even though I put the shaft back together, it still won't pull up the hill. So I'm going to be working on something else on that. So keep an eye out for that, and until then, we'll see you.